Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter. Hello, fine folks. This is Freedom Fighter, and I'm your host of Goldilocks Global Banking News. Welcome, welcome, welcome home. Folks, I am proud to tell you that many of you have already learned to know that Goldilocks is able to share sometimes months in advance of what's happening with the RV because of Goldilocks relationships and also the team of researchers. For example, those relationships Goldilocks has is direct with the CBI, which I was a part of a conference call on October the 14th with Goldilocks indeed with the CBI. Goldilocks' direct relationships with the International Monetary Fund, the Bank of International Settlements, the U.S. Treasury, the World Bank, and several digital financial institutions and digital institutions that are directly related to the process of the RV coming into fruition. Today, Goldilocks is sharing some very important information that you need to know from the CBI and also from Citibank, which actually is also connected to Iraq. Let's not belabor the moment. Let's jump right into it. For those of you who may or may not have been paying attention, for the last year or so, Goldilocks has been sharing some information about Iraq, showing that the CBI has been reporting on several meetings with the United States whereby were always two very prominent banks that were a part of the meetings with the U.S. Treasury, the Federal Reserve, included within the meetings with Iraq. Those two banks are J.P. Morgan Chase and Citibank. Many of our members in our room, the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room, are very familiar with this as they've been following it. So whenever Iraq met with the U.S. for negotiations in the United States, Citibank was a part of it. Whether it was in Abu Dhabi, Citibank and Chase, both, of course, were a part of it. Citibank is announcing something that is very important to know and understand related to Iraq. We're going to get right into it. It's called a Citibank Digital Bill. It's a new integrated digital bill discounting solution that makes centuries-old practices future-ready. What does this mean? Well, throughout the world, many banks, financial institutions have been dealing with paper. Citibank has now integrated and created a new digital bill system whereby the billing for goods and services will be on a digital platform. Do you recall just here recently we've been talking about how Iraq is in the process of digitizing their customs and ports? They have already announced that the Iraq banking system is now digital and also licensed. So, Do you think it's a coincidence that Citibank has been in these meetings consistently with Iraq? Oh, and by the way, Citibank has a branch located in Iraq. Let's talk about what Citibank is doing and what they have as far as this digital bill. It's called Citi Direct. These are the components of the Citi Direct system. It supports foreign currency exchange and is designed to help users to manage foreign exchange throughout the world. So many banks and institutions that have this new system can manage foreign currency no matter where they're at in the world. This foreign exchange management system called Citi Direct allows users to manage cash and foreign exchange activities, including access to letters of credit and direct documentation collection. Multiple currencies are within this new Citi Direct system. It supports 135 currencies and is available in 27 languages across 90 countries. 135 currencies. How many do you have that you've invested in? Just imagine those currencies that you hold are a part of this. Just imagine why Citibank has been a part of the meetings with Iraq over the last 2 years and all the meetings with the U.S. There's something called Citi Connect. It's a channel service and provides a direct connection to Citibank from a client's treasury management system. Those clients are the banks. Think of banks and their treasury system around the world. Think of the Central Bank of Iraq. Think of the State Bank of Vietnam or any other central bank throughout the world having yet another direct system. It supports the exchange of files and messages for all Citi treasury and trade services. So think of all the paper, documents for billions or even trillions of dollars in transactions that are now being digitized. A part of this also is called WorldLink Payment Services, which allows clients to issue payments in 135 currencies from their offices without maintaining local currency accounts. Think of banks around the world that have access to the various currencies and do foreign currency exchange. Imagine this swift and digital transactions with having a connection to the Citibank system. And yes, this is not the only system. This is one of several platforms. But why is it so relevant to Iraq? Again, it's been JP Morgan Chase and Citibank that have been in all of the meetings with Iraq in the United States over the last 2 years. You should begin to think, why have they been included in all of these meetings? Now you're beginning to see why. Goldilocks is sharing that, yes, Citibank is going digital with Citi Direct. It's a platform that offers a variety of banking services. And Citibank is also developing new digital asset capabilities for banks. Welcome to Citi Direct Online Banking, Citibank's web-based banking platform. Just imagine with Iraq and Iraqi citizens around the world that can connect to this system. Just imagine the Central Bank of Iraq also doing the same thing. No, this is not information relevant to you to do your exchanges at Citibank. No, that is not what we are encouraging you to do. This is information for you to be aware of. If you choose Citibank, that's your choice. But it's important to know, when you know the history and the process of the RV specifically related to Iraq to know who is involved and who has historically been involved. Citibank has been one. Now let's talk about Goldilocks is going to share negotiating of foreign currency exchange agreements. This is about Iraq. We want you to know that there have been what are called dormant accounts in Iraq, that these dormant accounts at one time in Iraq, these are bank accounts that have underlining relationships to the Iraqi dinar. Just imagine accounts that have been dead, dormant, but at one time in the past, let's say before the war, these accounts were alive and well and allowed for the dinar to have a strong value. And then something happened and these accounts went dead. And so did the value of the dinar. Iraq is announcing, the Central Bank of Iraq is announcing that these accounts are now being reactivated through what's called a monetary policy, and this is directly from the CBI. Monetary policy rate and reactivation of securities based on the monetary policy to enhance access to targeted inflation rates. Folks, in layman's terms, I'm going to break it down to you like this. This monetary policy, it refers to interest rates and other mechanisms, financial mechanisms that are directly correlated to and related to a country's currency value, the strength of a country's currency. So Iraq is, through this monetary policy rate, this monetary policy, they are waking up dead accounts in Iraq. So now let's get into a little more detail so you can understand. This monetary policy is set by the Central Bank of Iraq to influence cost across the Iraqi banking system, essentially acting as a benchmark for something very important related to the value of the dinar. What is that? The interest rates. This is the reactivation of securities. Securities, folks, are finance instruments. So once these financial instruments are reactivated, they begin to move within a country's banking system to reactivate, let's say, dead values on assets. So just think the dinar has been dead for many years. The reactivation of these securities as a result of this monetary policy will begin to awaken the value of the dinar. So a part of that monetary policy is the CBI is buying back government bonds once dead from the market so that they can inject large amounts of money into the Iraqi banking system, which absolutely will stimulate the economy and the dinar. The reactivation of securities refers to the process of reactivating these dead accounts. Examples of these dead accounts were stocks, securities that included stocks, bonds, and also oil and gas interest. Again, I'm going to repeat that. Oil and gas interest. Why is this so highly important related to the reactivation? Oil and gas interest. We're going to touch on that because you all know the answer, and I'm going to share it with you here in a moment. This monetary policy changes will enable the Iraqi dinar to strengthen, to begin to awaken. And the underlying security asset that backs it, such as oil and gas interests, such as stocks and bonds, for example, it will allow the demand for the dinar to begin to go up. This is why, one of the reasons why, specifically as it relates to oil, this is one of the major reasons why the CBI has been meeting with the U.S., the Department of Treasury, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Also, this is one of the reasons why Citibank and JP Morgan Chase has been a part of those meetings. The Central Bank of Iraq has announced, we all should know by now, that by the end of this year, they will be removed from the electronic platform, which is the oil account. Remember, we just mentioned what one of the securities of the monetary policy is the oil and gas interest account, which has been dormant within Iraq because they've been dependent on the U.S. for this oil revenue account. Iraq has announced by the end of this year, which is the shift from the electronic platform controlled by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, which Iraq receives their oil revenues. This will be the shift. A dormant trading account, Goldilocks is sharing. It is an account that has not had any trades made over a period of time. So just think of no activity. Think of, for those who may live in a city or state where it's cold and you got to start your vehicle up, warm it up so that it can run efficiently. These accounts, for example, let's talk about the oil and interest account, where the underlying security that supports it has been cold. It needs to be warmed up. Let it run for a while so that it can run efficiently. The reactivation of these accounts, one in particular related to oil, is a dead account in Iraq that has been dead because it has been just dormant. The reactivation of it now is the warming it up. The warming up of the banking system, the new digital banking system in Iraq. The warming up of the Iraqi dinar as a result of the underlying security that supports it, which is the oil and gas interest. Being that the monetary policy that the CBI is announcing now is reactivating, will eventually allow the Iraqi dinar to run and move efficient, not only in Iraq, but beyond its borders, to go long distance, a long distance ride from one state, city, and country to another, so that the Iraqi dinar can go beyond its borders. The oil that runs through the Iraqi banking system, think of it as an engine that needs oil. A dead engine that is now alive. The reactivating of that engine behind the dinar is the monetary policy, which is to reactivate these dead accounts. You must know and understand that now Iraq is moving to a place where these dormant accounts that have been actually a part of Iraq's history is now a part of Iraq's future. And that future is a strong Iraqi dinar. All of this in the digital network connecting to the quantum financial system. Today, the CBI is announcing that the reactivation of this new monetary policy is a part of the raising of the dead of the Iraqi dinar. Lazarus will soon come forth. Continue to stay engaged and follow the process, because of course we know it's not only about Iraq, but it's about the world that is also waiting on Iraq. Be well, be kind, be in love. Unconditional love. Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.